There we go. So, this is our last part of Module 3, when we will conclude the basics of that helling us orders of love and facilitating family constellation. And this time we are only concerned with ourselves, not with others. So in this part, we are looking at personal development, at unsolved emotions, and a bit of troubleshooting at the end. And then we have concluded this module. So what does it what does that mean? We are looking into how we can develop further. We are looking at lifestyle choices. We are talking about unsolved and trapped emotions. We are talking about conditioned belief systems, about the dark night of the soul, blind spots or shadow aspects, however you want to call that. Lakatosis, I'm sure that you have never heard this word before. That's fun. And we are looking at troubleshooting, a couple of situations and family constellations that you might find yourself in trouble in, and how to solve that. Two of these two we are talking are mentally impaired participants and family secrets. So let's go to our first topic, personal development. You can only give what you have, see what you know, and find what was previously in your possession. So let's talk about the first part of the sentence. You can only give what you have, right? What you don't have, you cannot pass on to others. So first, you need to be enriched and overflowing, and then you can pass it on to others. When you learn something in your field, you gain so much knowledge. It's like a glass that fills up with knowledge, and then it is overflowing, and then you feel ready to pass it on to others, and you start to teach it, and you start to, use it in consulting and in coaching. Yeah. And of course, that's here the same. First of all, the glass needs to be full. And then when it starts to overflow, then it's time to give it. So focus on making your glass full first. Yeah? Then the next part is see what you know. Now that's a phenomenon that you might are familiar with or might not, but you can physically not perceive what you think it's not there. So I make an example. You know this famous example, I don't know whether it's true or not, but it's used all the time. When Columbus was discovering America and his fleet was coming up on the horizon, that the indigenous people couldn't see it because they never saw such a thing before. And then when they came close, it was far too late to do anything about it. So, who knows if this is true, but the phenomenon is true. So you cannot really perceive what you think is not there. And therefore, you need to train a lot of observation and see a lot of things. First, you learn what can be there, and then you start to notice it. And when you start to notice it, then you are filling up your glass. The glass goes fuller and fuller and fuller. And that goes not only for family constellation, that is life experience as well. So the good news is there is no rush in this work. You will get better as older you get, not the other way around, right? As more life experience you have, as better will be your giving. As more you can give, as more you can perceive, as more you can work with others and help others, right? So that's beautiful. So there's absolutely no rush when you are young to jump into something. You have the whole life in front of you to become a better and greater version of yourself, and then give more and more and more of what you have experienced. So the observation, the skills of observation and see and perceive is not limited to family constellations, of course. that is in your day-to-day life. In your day-to-day life, you can observe dynamics and emotions and body language and all of that. You can train that every day when you meet with people, or just sitting in a cafe and watching people and see what you can perceive. Yeah. And you can only find what was previously in your possession, right? Because you have to lose it before you can find it. So don't be disheartened if you feel there is something like, you know, you are here and you think everything goes linear, and then all of a sudden you think you don't remember anything, and you know, you're blank, and you have the feeling that I don't know, I have not learned anything. That is just a perception. That's a perception, and that's a good thing. Actually, it's like a reset. It's like a reset, but you know you will find it again because you had it already before, right? So it's there. It's just misplaced. It's just there. It will reveal itself when it's needed. So you can relax. Did we talk about living on the plateau? This book? No, we never talked about that. There is a book that is called Living on the Plateau or something similar. It's very interesting. You might find it when you Google it. It has to do, I'm sure there's something with plateau in the title. It's in English. And the author is explaining how we think life goes in a linear way up, like if we're progressing, that's how we perceive it. Now, but life is not like this. What we do is we do steps. We go up, and then we have a kind of a straight where we live what we have, just the new knowledge we have just gained. We just start to live it and integrate in our life. And this is what he calls the plateau. And this can be quite long, right? And then there is the next step here somewhere. But because our perception is like we need to climb up like this, every time we reach the plateau, we think we're actually going backwards, we're going down. Because the expectations are here, the reality is here, so the perception is we are losing something. We are going one step forward, two steps back. But that's not true. Yeah, that doesn't apply to any law. That's just not a natural law. The natural law is that we can only develop, and we cannot lose anything that we once had in our possession. Yeah, we just need to find it again, and that is a really good way to look at when you have progressed, and then you think you're not progressing anymore. Just check how it was before your progression. Yeah, you might put it in a diary, or you have another means to remember it, and then you remember, oh my gosh, yeah, no, I'm not there anymore, right? And that's really good to remind yourself that you're living on a plateau most of the time, and the progression is in steps. Yes, Kimberly.
I was just going to say, this is what astrology is so useful for, because it confirms when you're in these different phases, and, you know, so you're not wasting your time. Like, you know, if I go in the wrong direction, you know exactly where you are. And it's just another tool, you know,
True.
for that, for
Yeah.
timing.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, very good. Yeah. Remember, you're never finished with personal development. That means this stepping up is continuing until the last day we die, obviously. And I'm supposed beyond that as well. So that's never finished. So whatever we start, we cannot wait till we have something finished. This work will get better and better as older you get, as more experience you have, as more you know, as more you learn, as more as you observe, as more you practice. So you have to start somewhere, right? And after this module 3, it's a good time to start with, you know, we start with a practice workshop. You can start to ask a friend if you can demonstrate something, test something. You can start if you want to, no pressure. But if you want to, you can start and use it in a very light-hearted way. Yeah. Without putting you under pressure, without wanting to achieve anything. You practicing helping, yeah, the art of helping, with having in mind that it's about you in this case, not about the others. It's about you developing your skills. Hmm? Of course, for the start, you need a good foundation, and these first three modules are a good foundation. So you can rely on that to revisit the video recordings, read the books, and make it your second nature, the orders of love and everything we have discussed. Yeah. Um, Knowing yourself or self-realization is more the spiritual term, is the way and the destiny. In everything we do, of course, also, and especially when we want to work with family constellation. Yeah. So remember, it's your way to yourself, and what you do, also what you do with others in regards of family constellation is a reflection of where you are at. Yeah. And you can be assured, I can assure you that you will not be put into positions that you cannot handle. That is another natural law. You would just think maybe you cannot handle them, but that would not be true. So that should assure you that what you start, if you have, your good foundation and you take it easy and you don't let your ego go the better of you, yeah? If you do that, then you will be always safe and guided. And it will never end. You're never finished. No? And that's wonderful. We always learn. I learn with every constellation I do something new. I see something new, I observe something new, I have an aha moment sometimes, or I just put the dots together. Yeah, connect the dots every single time. So let's talk about what I find are good ways to personal growth. First of all, of course, participating in our workshop doesn't need to be ours, cannot be others, but keep on going to workshops for yourself, because you have chosen the method of family constellation as a tool for yourself to, to grow, to heal, your family system, and that will continue, right? It is important that you are always on both sides, that you are the receiver and the giver. Yeah, so you grow together. You're always filling up the glass a little bit more so it can overflow again. And it's not only for your own personal growth. You don't even need to have a constellation, just observation and being exposed to connecting to the field in the group session without the pressure of facilitating it is also very, very helpful, that you personally continue to grow. We have supervision workshops on the website. You can see the dates. So once you are finished with the complete training and you are working with the method of family constellation, that is a yearly event that I would highly recommend to come to. That is where we gather together, where we recap some foundations, and most importantly, where we look at client cases that you might want to discuss, and that you might want to also constellate with me there. Continue reading uplifting literature, of course. That's We do that anyhow. I know that. I just think that's part of personal development, that we always attract the right books to us that will help us in our phase wherever we are in to do this other step. I think books are fabulous for that. So I'm sure you agree on that you sometimes don't even look for a book, it just finds you. And you have this beautiful moment with this book where you think, oh my gosh, It talks straight to my heart, right? And stay away from the news and the TV. That's kind of the opposite of uplifting. Go to other retreats for personal growth. Maybe make it a thing in your life if you can integrate it into your life, to go to a retreat once a year, whatever your heart calls for, a yoga retreat, a meditation retreat, a qigong retreat, or whatever it is, to gift it to yourself. Remember that is important to fill up your glass. Yeah. So really make sure you look after yourself and take this time, this me time, out of your busy lives. And make it like a thing looking forward to every year. Or if you don't have the chance, family and this and that, you can make a little retreat at home. Maybe you can find a way to get away at home. A daily routine is good. It's not necessary, of course, right? But it helps. Doesn't need to be daily. A routine in itself is already helpful. Let's see what we have here. Meditation, yoga. This is probably what I prefer, but there are lots of other routines. In the other group, we have two what do you say, Islamic participants who are having daily prayers. That's their daily routine. So whatever it is helpful to center and ground and connect with the field, yeah, and focus on the desire to connect with the truth. Stay in the truth, if you will, yeah, and not in the illusion that it's all the day, 24 hours around us and distracting us. Mm? Do you have a daily routine? Yeah, what is it, Suman?
I meditate and then walking as well, but like walking without distractions. So no headphones, nothing, just, yeah.
In nature, or where do you walk?
I try to do nature, but usually it's like I'm in the middle of LA. So I just try to leave the house and get somewhere. But on the weekends, I try to go to the parks up here in Malibu or Topanga. So yeah.
Wonderful, to walk. I prefer also walking meditation. I think that's one of the best. Yeah. Kimberly, what do you do?
I do yoga, which I love, and it sets me straight every single morning. Hits me like right where I need to be. And then I like to pick cards, like different, like motivational cards or spiritual cards, and
Yeah.
work with those.
So get your inspiration for the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wonderful. Yeah. Very good. Yeah, that's nice. Keep doing that. That's wonderful. Are you setting an intention when you do your daily routine?
At yoga. Yeah, I'm sorry, Suman, go ahead.
Oh no, it's okay. I used to. Now it's just sort of like it's like brushing your teeth now. It's just sort of you step into it.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, I used to like write them down 3 times and all the good stuff. So it's routine now. So I should actually go back to setting an intention.
I think it's really helpful,
Yeah.
especially an intention to stay connected and centered and truthful, like an
Yeah.
open intention, not what I want to have, like what do I want to acquire in the next month, or just something open, something spiritual that keeps you going, that has more meaning. What do you want to say, Kimberly?
I was just saying at yoga, we
Yeah.
always set our intention, so, but let's, can you think about it from the constellation perspective now instead of the yogi perspective?
Yeah, very good. Okay, now we talk about lifestyle choices. Personal development without lifestyle choices, I think, is impossible, because if you don't choose what you do in your life, then you are just like a leaf in the wind. You would just go wherever the wind blows you, right? and that will be probably not get you up. It will probably get you just like this all life, right? So to reflect on what your lifestyle is and what choices you made in the past, and if you made the choices or somebody else made the choices for you, for example, your parents or the community or your partner, is very healing. And then sit down and then say, okay, I might want to change that and choose another life aspect of life in this regard. Yeah. So the lifestyle choices I would like to address is drinking alcohol, drugs, smoking, food, and the daily routine. We talked about that. Basically, oh, hang on, go back. Let's go through them all. So let's talk about alcohol first. What do you think about consuming alcohol? And how is that for you? And how do you choose what are your choices around alcohol? Let me know that.
I feel like the older I get, the more it's just not a necessity for me. I used to be, a glass of wine, or when I was younger, definitely like going to the bars and hanging out. It was a social. Um, it's funny that we're talking about this today, because I was looking at my schedule ahead, and there's a dinner I want to cancel because I know the dinner is going to be filled with alcohol and meat. So yeah, I just find myself not interested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So very good. So we see nothing is coincidental. This is really important this awareness that is growing for what you choose and what you haven't chosen yet is really part of the personal development that you go through when you're shedding the onion skin. So this is what you all of a sudden see yourself in, or like, what am I doing here? Is this what I chose? Do I want to choose something else? So why does it make you uncomfortable to think about alcohol and meat?
It's just consuming it. Like there's no part of me that wants to go out on a Wednesday night and have a drink and eat that type of heavy food, and knowing the next day I have to be very productive, and I just want to show up for myself better. I want to be in a better mindset, body, spirit. With my thyroid, my weight has ebbed and flowed. And so the older I get, the more I'm very mindful of what I'm participating in.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
And what do you think about alcohol, Kimberly?
Well, my husband and I enjoy wine. We're like kind of wine connoisseurs. We've done a lot of vineyard visits and wine tasting, and we like it.
Yeah.
It doesn't consume our life, but we enjoy it responsibly.
So you chose it as part of your lifestyle.
Yeah. And my children make it so we can only have so much. Otherwise, we'll be paying the next day. So it's like we are, not where we used to be, but we enjoy ourselves.
Good. So that's great, as long as you choose it to enjoy yourself and you have a good reason for it, right? If this ceases to exist, like Suman just reported on, just doesn't become, the social aspect doesn't become attractive anymore, your own feeling of being sober and being yourself and feeling yourself without any foggy layers on top becomes a priority, then it's time to make it a lifestyle choice, right? So that's true. And this is part of the personal development, is to always reassure yourself, am I doing it because I choose it, or is it a habit, or do I do it for others? Yeah. Why am I doing it, and do I really feel better with or without? Yeah. That's the choice. And the same goes for drugs. I'm not sure if anybody here uses drugs, but they are altering the state of mind for a specific certain time, duration, and that is definitely a wasted time. That is a time where you are not connected, where you're not grounded, where you're not showing up for yourself, where you are escaping, basically, from all of that. Yeah. So even if you think about medicinal drugs, cannabis or ayahuasca or something like that, and some people swear that they have higher states of beingness, I highly doubt that. This is all messing with the mind. You are always in a higher state when you are sober and connected and have the intention, because we are superhuman. We all have superpowers. We just give them away through substances and through to mind concepts and all of this. Yeah, if we can shed that and find out who we really are in our way to self-discovery, we find so much more interesting stuff going on than any drug or illusion can give us. That also goes for prescriptive drugs. If you think of the people who are daily using sleeping pills, um, pain pills, or if they have a headache, they're using paracetamol instead of drinking half a liter of water, for example. This becomes, this is, I'm not quite sure if anybody's choosing that, but it's becoming a lifestyle. They sell drugs like lollies. I mean, here in New Zealand, for example, they have a warehouse for drugs. I'm sure that's the same in America. I'm completely puzzled how this could go this way, right? But these are all, one way or the other, altering the mind and the body and taking us away from our true nature, from our connection to Earth, and on our desire to stay on the path of truth, right? In one way or the other. Smoking. Anybody smokes here? No. Ever had smoked? Yeah, me
Couple
too.
Yeah. I'm in Vegas, all of a sudden I'm a smoker, but otherwise, no, not a habit,
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the same. It's just an illusion it's just a moment to escape. It's like with every addiction that we have. We think we enjoy it, but what we actually do is we are fulfilling the need that the addiction puts us under, and that gives us a relief, right? And that we are how can I say, mixing up with joy. Yeah, it's not. If you wouldn't be a smoker, you wouldn't have joy smoking, right? But because you're a smoker, you need to smoke to have joy smoking. That's how I experienced that. And then I gave up because I found that absolutely appalling to think about it that way. But I haven't for years like this. So that's some other self-awareness example, especially if you work with people who are smoking, and you will have people that come and want you to help in with systemic coaching, with giving up smoking. Yeah, and it works. It works. I had several cases where it works totally fine, that they could give up smoking after family constellation. Not every time, but I know cases, and that is exactly this other onion layer, the self-realization, right? Why am I doing that? For what reason? What is the real reason I do it? Without lying to ourselves and making things look attractive when they are not, right? What about food? Now, of course, we can give up alcohol, drugs, and smoking easily because we don't need that. But food, we cannot give up, obviously. So let's talk about food. Are you happy with your food choices? And all the topics around food. Kimberly, what do you say?
Yes, we like to cook and eat good food, eat healthy, lots of vegetables, natural stuff. I feel really good about my diet.
Very good. That's wonderful. And you chose this diet. Is that a diet you always had, your parents had, or
No,
something?
I grew
Yeah.
up on a terrible diet, but became educated in my early 20s and changed my lifestyle then.
Very good. Very good. Oh, excellent. And you, Suman?
I have a very interesting relationship with food. It's either really, really good or really, really bad. It's a constant ebb and flow. It's in my family as well. Like I can see the pattern.
Mhm.
Um, so I've identified my pattern of when it gets really, really bad. It is because I'm consumed or I'm wanting to escape
Mhm.
or it's just easy. But yeah, I ebb and flow. Right now I'm in a good flow.
What is
Yeah.
a good flow
It,
for you, Suman?
nutrients,
Mhm.
vegetables, feeling fulfilled, not snacking, water, a lot of water. Just good, nutritious food as
Mhm.
opposed to going to the, cupboard and grabbing a cookie for a snack.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, I'm tracking. I understand when I do those things.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's definitely what's the word? Um, not adventure, but it's a beautiful investigation that's
Yeah.
happening.
Journey.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
journey.
how do you make this lifestyle? How do you choose to be on this? What did you say? App and a flow, which is nutritious,
Mhm.
and apping when it's not nutritious. How does this happen? This change?
Mostly circumstances around either family stress or work stress. So
Stress.
sometimes when yeah, it's stress basically. Yeah. Managing that and being mindful of it. Um, Especially since like 2020, my life has not been very like most people, but mostly professionally. I was always someone who was like, oh, I have a consistent job, I have an employer. When I went out on my own, it created a whole bunch of chaos of relying on myself and things I never had to really think about before because I just had to suit up and show up for a job.
Mhm.
So it shifted a lot for me. Yeah.
And what it was with your food choices then?
In the beginning, it was really shitty. And then by like mid to end of 2020 became a little bit better, more consistent. Then back in 2021, I took a full-time position somewhere else. That was super stressful. So I can connect a lot of that to stress and being overwhelmed
Hmm.
and burdening myself for no reason as well.
Hmm. Very good. So at the moment you're at a stage where you do not choose your food. You let
I
life
am
choose it.
life's choosing it for me,
Yeah.
yes. Oh, no, no. I'm eating healthy, so whatever that means.
When I get you right, you say when you're under stress and stress comes from the environment,
Yes,
that chooses your unhealthy food.
correct.
And when you
Yes.
are relaxed and the environment is relaxed and peaceful, that is determined that you
Mm-hmm,
eat healthy. So I would say, from what I hear, you are at the moment not in a position where you choose the food.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's an outside, it's determined by outside factors.
Yes, it's
Yeah,
not within me, it's outside of me.
exactly. So in this
Yeah.
case, of course, stress can be released through, continuing to work and reveal whatever
Mm-hmm,
is in the way to lasting happiness and freedom. However, it helps tremendous to make a food choice to have a higher goal
mm-hmm.
with your food, right?
Yeah.
To have a higher goal that is not within these day-to-day encounters. Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
So if you think of there are lots of religion that determine the food you eat. That's a higher goal.
mm-hmm,
Yeah. So for example, in Islam, you don't eat you eat little meat and you definitely don't eat pig.
mm-hmm,
Pig. That's a food choice that's done for you. It's not you to do it, but you choose a religion. So then you choose the food choice with it, right? And you don't want it because it's a higher goal. It's for, I don't know Islam very well, but I suppose it's for, no, it's not good to connect to God when you eat pigs. I think whatever. But there are other reasons where you can. So, for example, if you say, I don't want meat because it's heavy food, then you can think of, well, it's also not even good for your body. It's probably not good for the animal neither, to be raised for killing on consumption. So you can decide, okay, I don't eat meat anymore because I don't want to harm animals. That's a higher goal. And then you can be stressed or not stressed. It's not on your plate. And let's take sugar, thinking of the cookie. Yeah. You can set the goal that you don't eat sugar anymore because sugar is an addiction. It falls under the category drugs. Sugar is
Yes, it is.
highly addictive, and some are more susceptible to it than others. And if you are susceptible to it, then this is determine what you want to eat, and you can make a commitment to yourself, yeah, for the highest goal, to have no substances, to don't consume any substances that you can be addicted to, that keeps you away from any kind of choices, obviously, like any addiction does. That you say, okay, I don't eat sugar anymore. So I look at packages from now on and only buy them there which are sugar free. Any kind of tomato sauce and this and that, sugar's everywhere. No sugar. Yeah, you bake your own cookies without sugar. You could, that's just an example. Yeah. So that would be another lifestyle choice for a higher goal. That is not, you're not relying on environmental factors to make this food choice for you. Then this is a set, then this is a given. You can be stressed or not stressed, but sugar is not on your plate. Meat is not on your plate, regardless how stressful the environment becomes or not. Just some thoughts. Yeah. So food choices, yes, they are important, and you need to do your own food choices. As higher you, let's say, as more you personally develop, and as higher you come into lighter realms of existence, so to say, less encumbered, less stressed, more peaceful, more compassionate, you will also find that your food choices will go towards non-harming as well. So you will choose the food that does not harm the environment, the people, and the animals alike. Yeah, and then you can see this is also part of personal development. The daily routine, we talked about that. Doesn't need to be morning, can be in the evening. It could be not daily. It could be just once a week. Everything that you think, okay, I'm looking forward to that. That's what I do. That's the me time, the time I donate to myself. It's good. That always reminds me of this Japanese habit, and they have a lovely term, shin-shu or something. I don't know exactly how they pronounce it. That's called forest bathing. So as living in Japan, it is a thing when you live in the cities, not for the villagers. It's a thing with the whole family once a week on the weekend or whenever they're not working, to take the train, the metro or something, and drive out into the forest, and they call that forest bathing. They go 2 hours walking in the forest and they call it bathing. I love that, because you are bathing in the oxygen the trees give and connecting with nature. It's like you take a bath and then they go home. We call that a walk in the forest, but they call it bath. So it always reminds me of that. It's like a retreat, like a spa. That's like you relax. It's how you do it, and you need, especially when you're busy and you live in a city, you need to make, the choice to take the effort and the time and do that and go forest bathing once a week or whenever you can, right? So that's also nice. That's also a routine. Doesn't need to be daily, a routine. What else do we have here? Meditation, chanting, praying, yoga. These are things that I do and I'm familiar with. They are very helpful. And they also support your work of connecting with the field, right? Because you are quieting your mind down. That's most important. That's your work. Not to listen to your mind, listen to the field. Yeah? And these practices, they are all fantastic to quieting the mind and connecting to other runs that have information. Yeah. Exercise, I'm talking about physical exercises, working the body. Is there anything you do that keeps you fit, if you will?
I used to, but now like walking uphill, making, making it more aerobic. But I used to run marathons and do all that stuff. Um, no, walking is complete for me. Feels
Well,
good.
that's a great exercise,
Yeah,
walking. Yeah. Yeah. And once you've done a marathon, you know how unhealthy it is.
it's so unhealthy. I was the
Say.
unhealthiest person ever.
Yeah, it
Body
is.
mass wise, everything was unhealthy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Then you think, okay, done that, done that.
Mhm.
Been there, done that. Yeah. Kimberly, what do you do? Anything? Um,
Well,
besides
we
yoga?
live in a really small little beach community, and so we ride our bike a lot,
Mm-hmm.
to places and walk a lot. My husband and I, we all actually the whole family, we play tennis
Ah,
every
yeah.
week. Which I think tennis is excellent couples therapy. It's really fun to just get out on the court. I go to the gym, do like
Yeah,
weights.
yeah. Great. And how do you feel about that?
How do I feel about
Mm-hmm.
exercising?
Yeah,
Oh, I love it. I
yeah.
love it. I love how it makes my body feel.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just trying to stay young as long as possible. And I feel like that's what's gonna do it. So
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So every kind of exercise, especially using the muscles, is really, really important. Because they are there to be used and they want to be used. They don't want to grow insanely, but they want to be used, right? So yoga practice is also a good exercise, by the way, because you use, it depends on the yoga you do, with the style, but you use a lot of muscles that you don't use in your daily life when you do yoga. And of course, yeah, working with weights is, I think, also a very good way to use the body. But walking is definitely key, right? Walking, humans are made since they, well, if they evolved from 4 legs to 2, that's debatable. But since they have 2 legs and they go upright, walking is what they meant to do. And I think walking is really, really important. And you live at the beach, Kimberly? That must be fantastic. You certainly walk on the beaches, eh?
yeah, we do. Yeah, and we just have a really nice little neighborhood. We walk the kids to the bus stop every day and the
Mm.
dog and the whole neighborhood walks. So it's kind of
Mm.
social hour. Everybody's like, hi.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, walking is amazing. And as I meet people and I see people, they don't walk, they just drive. They go from the house in the car and then they drive everywhere, and then it's like, I don't know, it's kind of out of fashion to walk, which is a shame.
Yeah, we live in a really small, like it's just so small. We're on this little island and even just driving, very little driving that you need to do. Like
Are you allowed to?
everything's
You are living on an island?
it's a little barrier
A
island
Berry Island.
in Florida. Yeah. And so technically,
And
yes, you have to cross bridges to get to the mainland.
yeah, yeah. So you're allowed to drive on the little island. Sometimes they just have
You can
electric
drive
cars.
on it, but
Yeah,
I just like driving, I think about like LA or something. That's part of the reason why we moved here was to not have to drive. And
yeah,
it's just, yeah, very
yeah,
local.
yeah. Right. Good. Reading. Do you like to read? Yeah, yeah. Me too. It's also something that seems to go out of fashion. Yeah. Everything you can see in forms of videos now or listen to, of course, Audible. But yeah, I think reading is also, you have to choose to read. It's becoming a lifestyle choice because there are other options nowadays, and there's nothing good as having a book in the hands, I think. and turning pages and sitting there with the book and contemplating on what you just have been reading. So that's great. I consider that nowadays also a lifestyle choice to continue to read. Connecting with nature, we talked about that. The trees are breathing for us oxygen and taking in our carbon dioxide, and we do the opposite. We are breathing out carbon dioxide and taking in their oxygen. So we are really in symbiosis with trees, with plants, and we feel that when we are exposed to it. So that is really, really important to take time out and go and connect with nature, in my opinion, as a part of your lifestyle choice. Animals. What do you think about animals? Do you have animals at home? No, Sumin. And you, Kimberly? What do you have?
We have a 14-year-old dog who's adorable. He's getting a little bit old though. And then we have a fish.
One fish.
Yeah, it's actually just for feng shui. It's good to have one fish. They'll absorb the poison arrow if like some bad energy comes into your house. Then the fish
What fish
takes
is
it.
that?
We have a beta.
Ah, a beta. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Yeah. Animals. So there is a part of us that wants to care. Yeah. And as more aware we are of it, as more we want to allow this part to show. And the caring aspect is easiest towards animals. It's more difficult towards other people. So the animals are there to teach us how to care. Yeah. And then from there we can develop into caring for people, especially the people we probably naturally wouldn't want to care for. Yeah. And that's called unconditional love or compassion. Mm. So I think it's also a good lifestyle choice to find this place where you find this where you donate time to care for animals. You can go to a shelter and volunteer there. You can take out the neighbor's dog from an elderly person and walk it. If you don't, you can have a fish tank at home if you are not allowed pets, and anything that depends on you to support it with an environment where they can live in the in the required way. And this aspect of caring is very important also for our work as a helper. To let that out, because we all have it. We just sometimes put ourselves in a lifestyle that doesn't allow us to do that. And another lifestyle choice is to choose to care for animals in any way that fits into your lifestyle. And then from there, don't stop there. Just remember, it's also about people. To learn to open the heart also to the people who need it most. Yeah. I'm running an animal sanctuary. We have over 70 animals. And at the moment, we are overwhelmed. We are getting wildcats with litters all the time because none, the SPCA or the other institutions who get lots of fundings won't take them. They won't take them. They want to kill them. Yeah. And we are ending up with all these kittens. Yeah. So, and that's good. They need a place and we are there to help. So that's what I have decided to do. Another lifestyle choice. Friends, haha. Do you think you choose your friends? Where do your friends come from? Sumin, you want to share?
Yeah, I was just thinking, I think it goes both ways. I think the older I get, the wiser I become.
Mm-hmm.
My friends are connected to really the energy field that I'm putting myself into and that I'm seeking.
Mm-hmm.
In the past few, and I know this probably falls into it astrologically too, Kimberly, but like had very abrupt friendships of like 15, 20 years end because of lifestyle choices and me not willing to give up me in the process to allow them to show up the way they show up. So it's interesting. I would say even in this last year, there's been a good core 4 people in my life, but everything else around me has shifted quite dramatically. Yeah. And it feels good, feels
Yes.
fun, feels like home. Yeah.
Yes. Choose your friends deliberately. Make sure you know why you choose a friend. Yeah. And everybody else just takes up time and space, energy, and doesn't allow you to personally grow, wants to hold you back. Right? Not deliberately, but they want you on their same page. Yeah, because that's how they connect. And if you grow, they want you to come back. They don't want to grow with you, because it takes a lot of effort. You know that, how much effort you put in your personal growth. And they don't want to do these expenses. They don't want to do that. And then they want you back on their level. So, and that is when you find them, you have to let go of them. Yeah. And that's really, friends are part of our life, sometimes a big part of our life, and we definitely need to focus on choosing the friends that we want to spend time with. What about you, Kimberly? Have you thought about that?
Yeah, I'm just really happy with all my friends and community here. It's a very strong, tight-knit community that we have. And I feel like they're all my soul family friends. Like I feel really good. Very
Right.
grateful. One thing I do see, I was talking about daily routines and praying, like our family always just goes through what we're grateful for every night when we're eating dinner. And it's grateful for our friends. They really are like our family.
Right. Wonderful. So you have the feeling you chose where you live because of the community as well.
Yeah, so not to get too political, but Florida is, a very like red conservative state, and we're not. We're super liberal, and so there's, a handful of us here, and it's like we all found each other and just, like we were all drawn to this place to be together.
Yeah. Very good. Keep doing your lifestyle, keep choosing your lifestyle, and be aware of your choices. That's what I would like to convey here. Now let's talk about emotions, especially the ones that are not solved yet. Have you ever heard of the term dark night of the soul? Is that familiar to you? Yeah, okay. We will talk about that after the break. Have you heard about blind spots or blind holes or shadow aspects? I'm sure, Suman, you work with that anyhow. Yeah. That's also relevant for personal development, of course. Excuse me. Oopsie. Thank you. Family entanglement are creating unsolved emotions, for sure. Conditioned belief systems can also create emotions that are unsolved, sticking around. And then we have such a thing as trapped emotions, right? They are emotions that are trapped in the emotional body, in your energy field around the physical body, where the chest or the emotional body is, very close to the physical body. That's where you can actually trap emotions. And that's where you also, we talk about that in module 4, where you can trap somebody else's emotions. So not necessarily yours. And then, of course, on our way to personal development, we want to let go of all of these, to be free of these. And then we have our lakatosis. I'm going to introduce you to in a minute. So trapped emotions, let's start there. They are emotions that you haven't solved, that are either from this, let's say this year, or they are from earlier in your life. They can go back to early childhood, into the womb, and they can also come from past lives as well. So this is all forming your emotional body, or some say that's the soul as well. That's kind of identical use. The soul as the pain body or the emotional body that is continued to live, right, over the physical. We will talk about that in module 4. And that is where you trap the emotions. They can come from far, far back. And of course, you can trap emotions from ancestors. You can trap emotions from current family members and even from strangers sometimes. Just because you sit next to them in the bus. Depends on the situation, right? We talk about it's module 4 actually. I don't know where it's module 5. We will talk about personal emotion vibration in module 4 next time. That is also a sign this is also how you can find out. We use colors and all of these, what kind of emotions are trapped, and then we only need to know how to release them. Trauma, so when you're in a state of trauma is the sudden impact, forceful impact, yeah. And when you are caught off guard, that is the little trauma. When you're startled, to be startled is actually a mini trauma. Yeah, it's a mini shock, if you will. If you're in this state of either a trauma or a mini trauma, like being startled, yeah, you can trap emotion. And we do that all the time because our energy field, this emotional body that's around us, is in this split second open. In the split second when there is this impact in a trauma, the shock, this fear, or when you are startled, this moment is open. And that is when you trap emotion. So the emotion that you feel in this moment when you are startled or when you are shocked is in this emotional body trapped. And on, it doesn't go away. It just stays there, right? This is what forms our emotional body. Yeah. You can, and that's the best practice, to clear emotions you have trapped over the day, in the morning or in the night, every day. You can sit there, go through the day. Let's say it's in the night, go through the day, what has happened in the day, and just track, have I been overwhelmed, startled, or shocked by anything, right? It could be that there was a letter in the post, and you just see the sender, and you think, oh my gosh, that must be really bad news, something like this. That's also like this instant where you see that. Could be also where you trap in emotion, mainly the emotion of fear, often the emotion of anger, sadness, maybe guilt, or shame. All these emotions, we go through that in module 4, that are vibrating under 200, that are the emotions you normally trap in these moments, in these brief moments when you let go of the guard and your shields are down. So go through this day, think about what has startled me, what has surprised me, what has given me a kind of a sudden sensation of fear, yeah? And then just be aware it's there, and then just kind of let it go by breathing it out. It's very easy to let it go once you have actually noticed it. So once it's noticed, it's almost gone. You just say, I let go, or you just breathe out, or whatever you want, or you see a color leaving, or whatever is your preferred method. It's so easy to do. Yeah. The only problem is when they are not seen. When they are not seen, they will stick around. So what are we doing with the trapped emotions we have gathered all our lifetimes, maybe even before that, right? So there are some methods I know in person that work very well. One of them is the emotion code. Have you heard about that? It's a book that's from a guy, I think he's called Nelson. You can Google it. There are lots of free resources online. The emotion code. He's categorizing all possible trapped emotion into lists. and then you can go through the list, and you have like a pendulum. How do you call that? There's another name for it. You know how you can use kinesiology. You can use whatever kind of method you prefer to find out which emotion it is, and then you can release it. In this book, he releases it with a magnet. Just a kitchen magnet, just any kind of magnet, nothing special. But I come to the conclusion you can also release it just consciously. You don't even need a magnet for it. Meditation is also a good method to release trapped emotions. If you go in a deep meditation and you track your emotional body, and if you find something there in form of a color or in form of a symbol or just a feeling or a memory or something, then you can let it go as well. But of course, the most important part is not to trap any new emotions to start with, right? And how do we do that? By staying alert, awake, and in the now at all times. Because we can only be startled when we are in our mind, when we are absent, like we, meaning us, centered. We are not there. Our mind is going there and here and there and here, and oops, something happens. And we are surprised, startled, sometimes even shocked, yeah, by things. There is this, what is it called? Parable, like if you have a story to tell something. What is the English term for that? You want a story with a, yeah, parable, isn't it?
Yeah, like a fable or something.
Yeah, something like that. So this is parable from Zen Buddhism, where there is when the Zen master is teaching students, they are all sitting down, and they are supposed to be in deep meditation, but completely in the now and centered and alert. And then the Zen master goes around with a stick, and then he hits them on the back. And when they are centered and alert, they grab the stick, yeah, before it can hit them. And when they are not, when they are wandering off in their mind, they got hit because they don't feel that. And I have always this picture in front of my mind when I think about avoiding trapped emotion. When you are this centered, and that's what personal development is all about, to staying centered in the truth, yeah. When you stay centered, you will feel the stick coming and you will grab it. That's the emotion. You will feel the emotion coming and you will grab it, and it will not enter you at all. Yeah, that's the best way. And of course, having really raised the emotion, we talk about that in module 4, over 200 to a constant high level, then you won't trap any emotion that are lower anyhow. You know, that's done then, and that's all learned through compassion. So that's kind of lifting you out of all these states where you can trap actually emotion. Let's talk about conditioned beliefs. Conditioning, we talked about that module 1, are happening in early childhood, sometimes in the womb even, and go up to 7 years. Mainly they are up to 4 or 5 years when the child is in theta or in alpha state, and highly exposed to conditionings. That's, of course, a trait of nature to make sure that the child is born into an environment and adapts to it for survival, right? And to bond with the community there. Now, this is, of course, the opposite of lifestyle choices, right? Conditioned beliefs is the opposite. We are just following something unconsciously all our life and don't do any choices about that. Yeah. Even if it doesn't serve us anymore. Even if we are safe without it. Even if we don't want it anymore. We have that from parents, caretakers, teachers, other family members, the church, the community, wherever the child is growing up in this age. On this path to self-realization, absolutely all beliefs need to be addressed. and questions when you want to do the work. Every belief system is narrowing your view also in a family constellation situation. Yeah. Because remember, you don't see what you don't know. If you have this belief, let's say this is here, yeah, you cannot see what's here or what's there. So you need to widen that so much so that you can see practically everything. Right? That also means to drop belief system. And that has nothing to do with religion. Yeah. You can follow a religion as a ritual. You don't need to believe into anything if you want to follow it. Yeah. As a ritual, because it makes you feel good, and you are aware that this is a ritual that you have chosen for this and this and this reason. Then you turn a conditional belief into your own lifestyle choice. Yeah? So all beliefs need to be addressed, and we have a lot of beliefs that we are not aware of. And this is also the work we do, is to find these belief systems and to question them, and maybe to make another, or this time a choice to change something. Yeah. And in the end, you have to find your own path. The path of self-growth is always a path you walk alone. This is not a path that you walk in a community. This is not a path you don't even walk with a partner. It is your own path. That's your own path. It's not a beaten track. It will go off the beaten track at one stage. And then you need a machete, and create your own path and cut through everything. And this cutting through are also conditioned beliefs and belief systems that you need to cut through to find your own path. And that is our exercise today. Find your belief system, or at least one. Doesn't need to be more than one. So what are we doing is we work in a group, you two together, of course. It takes about maybe 10 minutes, the two of you. And then we have a get together, and then we have a break. So what is it about is, let me just stop sharing. What this exercise is about is that you discuss with each other what you think from your childhood. Let's focus on the childhood, yeah? Is something that you're continuing to do or to believe in that you have not really questioned yet. And it will be most likely something your parents do as well, or at least one parent does it as well. And that is nothing that you feel really uncomfortable with, because it's what you used to do. This is why you need to probably dig deep. This is why it's good you discuss it with each other, because you help each other to find it when you think about it. Okay? And of course, there's no swapping. You take this time, you can do notes. Of course, you can take notes if you wanted to. And then I see you in 10 minutes again. And then we will share what you have found. Yeah? All good? Okay. How did that go?
We kind of had the same thing.
Ah,
It was hard to think of at first, but then it came, and then it was like, yeah, that makes sense.
what is it?
Well, I was sharing with Suman that when I first got married, I sort of took on my mom's role of like what I thought a wife would be. Like my parents, were very old school. They were married in 1968. And so my dad was like the breadwinner, and my mom was a stay-at-home and took care of the family. And so I sort of stepped into that role where I was like, okay, I'll just do the laundry and the cooking and the cleaning and all the, womanly duties and stuff. And, I've been doing that. And my husband helps, he definitely helps, but I choose to do it, to do it all. And then I was sharing that how when we had the class where it was rather you feel guilty than me with the balance, that really sunk into me, and I saw that, and like stopped. Like it just stepped out of that role. Like it was so powerful, and that I didn't even share it with my husband that I was doing that. I just did it, just stopped.
Mm. So that was a belief system that you have already addressed. Did you find a belief system that you haven't addressed yet?
No, and that's when I just addressed. I mean, but as far as that I really couldn't find anything else right now. You know, and I shared with Suman that my parents have been gone for a long time. I've been on my own and really have like, you know, I'm just very different. Like our life is very different from my family's life. And
Yeah,
so
good.
I could do
Yeah,
more now, but right now I can't. I mean, I
maybe.
talked to find deals. Like I searched for good deals like my dad did. He was like a bargain hunter.
Very good. Very good. And Suman, what?
Yeah, the same, Maya, just that habitual sort of I'm going to take care of my partner and do all these things until one day, 8 years into the relationship, I was like, no. And then I was thinking of like things that I actually didn't even really think of. Like my father needs to burn incense every Sunday for there to be, you know, good fortune throughout the week and things like that,
Yeah.
calmness in the house. A lot of superstitions. To this day, I still do.
Superstition.
I
Yeah.
still do that. Like what I was sharing with Kimberly, there's if a shoe is flipped over, it needs to be properly on the floor, so it can't be wonky in any way.
Is this what your father does or what you do?
It's what I do because they did it.
See, this is it. That's the
Yeah.
condition. Yeah.
Not vacuuming at night.
Oh, wow. Why not? It's interesting.
Because it's supposed to bring you bad luck, because it's supposed to bring you arguments. Loud noise will bring you arguments. If you
Overnight.
overnight, if you play with scissors, it means that someone's going to talk bad about you.
Hey, with
And a
scissors,
few other
scissors.
things, like to this day, like I was telling Kimberly, if you sneeze before you leave like your home or your office, you're leaving something, you have to pause and put something sweet, so that way nothing bad will happen to you
Oh
when
my
you
gosh.
step out of the house. So I still do all these things.
See. Well, that's good to know now that you talk about it. Are you aware now that you are doing this, and do you want to continue to do it, or what is your take on that?
I think there was part of me that was aware of it, but didn't think about why I was doing it, because I knew I had to do it in order to escape the outcome if I didn't, the negativity. I think I would like to test myself in the next week or so to see if something happens. Like most likely it'll either be a shoe flipped over when we don't wear shoes in the house, so we take them off, and let's see how that happens. Every time I take my tennis shoe off, it always flips to the side. So let's see if I correct it this week.
That's fantastic. That's the steps to take. That's exactly what you do. You have to prove your mind a liar. That's a very powerful spiritual practice. You know how the mind comes up with, oh, you can't do this because I don't know, that will happen. Yeah, this is typical,
Yeah.
right? Well, you can cross the street. Let's say you can't. If you pass on the walkway an aggressive dog, it's gonna bite you. Yeah, for example, that's what the mind comes up with. Now you have to prove your mind a liar, meaning the next time this neighbor dog with his owner is on the same, you're not crossing the street, you stay there and you walk past. And if you don't get bitten, you can say to your mind, you are a liar. It's a very powerful practice to get out of this mind concepts that's leading our daily lives. Yeah. And you find that so when you flip your shoe not over the next time, and what was the outcome, the supposing outcome again?
Like you'll fall or something bad will happen to your body or something. You'll get hurt, something
You
like
get
that.
hurt. Okay.
Yeah.
Now you look at the shoe and say, now you prove me, you know, or you talk to your mind, now you prove me right or wrong, and you don't do it. And then how much time do you give yourself? Like when will that outcome be normally coming when you would be superstitious?
As soon as it
day?
happens.
The next day?
Oh, probably the next day or the
Okay.
next, 24 hours.
Give
Sure.
yourself this 24 hours or even 48, and then sit down again, and then we'll just check in. Has anything bad happened to your body? Did you get hurt? And if not, then you have to conclude your mind is a liar.
I'm going to try my best.
Yes. And that's great, because then you can actually trap your thoughts before they are starting to form your choices. And then you can say, hang on, that's probably not right what you tell me. No, I have to test it first before I believe you. And you know this saying, well, it's a German saying, I'm sure you have something similar in English. You never trust again a liar. Once a lie, once you caught somebody lying, you never trust him really, because how would you know? It could be a lie. Everything could be a lie. And that's the same with the mind. Once you catch the mind lying to you blatantly, why would you ever believe it again? And that's true freedom. And that gets you out of all conditioned belief systems. That was really good. I'm glad we talked about that. Yeah, fantastic.
I'm gonna
Okay,
try my
let us
best.
know. Yeah. Let us know. And even if you get hurt, don't give up. Take another of this, like the Hoover thing or something. Like, just go with every single thing that you have learned, and check it out.
I will try.
Wonderful. We have a break now. I see you back in 10 minutes. So the most common challenges in a family constellation are working with mentally impaired participants and with family secrets. And they can look alike, but they are not exactly the same. And while you can solve family secrets easily, mentally impaired participants not so much, right? So the signs of mentally impaired persons in a family constellation workshop are: they can't comply with the rule, they demand your attention, they are never content with the outcome, they always want more, they can run in and out of the room or leave the seat, despite the fact that you set the rule to sit and there and be part of the constellation. They like to take over a role without being asked, and they think they get the information from the field, but you know they can't, because if it would be an information from the field, you would know it, and then you would have chosen somebody. Yeah. So it's very rarely that somebody is really connected to the field and is a valuable part of the constellation, and you don't know it. You know? So most often somebody's ego or somebody is so in his own reality that he doesn't see the whole picture, and it's just, you know, overruling your leadership role and just does these things. Yeah. They claim to be, that's the other hand, on the other hand, or sometimes they claim to not be able to get out of the role. That's also often a sign of mentally impaired participants. Yeah. That they say, no, I'm still this person. I still feel like a grandfather. I don't know even, but you know, they are this. They are living in their own reality. It's not a connection to the field. That's then the step further is they think they are possessed by the family member they have represented. They think they are with them, yeah, which they cannot be because we don't invite them in. They cannot come in. So that's another sign. That's actually a quite clear sign of mental impairment. They hear voices. You know how information come to you when you represent and you don't hear a voice. Nobody is whispering in your ear. You know something, yeah? You know the feeling. You are sad. You can't look at somebody. You can look at, nobody's telling you that. But if they claim they hear voices, they tell them what to do in a representative role, then you know that's something not quite right here. Yeah. And of course, they often want to tell you what to do because they live in their own reality and they think they are right, and that means you are wrong, right? And then they want to tell you that. And then we talk about schizophrenia as like kind of the worst case in a family constellation. Oh, coming back, Suman, to any of these signs, is this something that you also see in your clinic? Like, yeah. So let's recap. Can't comply with rules.
Yes.
Demands your attention.
Yes.
Is never content with the outcome. Always wants more.
More likely than not, yes.
Mm-hmm. Is unsteady. Runs in and out of rooms or leaves the seat. Or is there something you are familiar with?
More yes. Yes,
so much.
especially the more impaired they are, the more
Yeah.
erratic the behavior.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Good. Takes over other. That's of course family constellation. That's our family constellation. Hears voices.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
thought disorders, schizophrenia, yes.
And do they want to tell you how to treat themselves?
Oh, absolutely.
You see? Why are they even
Yes.
there? They know it better anyhow, right? Mm. Very good. So that's interesting that this goes hand in hand. Okay, so now let's talk about schizophrenia. Not that I know anything about it. I just talk about that what I have observed in family constellation, what Bert Hellinger says about it. So what is one of the reasons for schizophrenia in a family system? Talking about a systemic approach, of course. Yeah. That is when one person is entangled with two family members who have contradictory entanglements. So you want to clear one entanglement, the other pops up. You want to clear this entanglement, the other pops up. This is how I picture it. So it's always bouncing up and down, up and down. So you can never really clear both, right? So, and that is what you see when you look closely in a family constellation, when you ever see a case of schizophrenia in there. There is a video. We have a whole thread in our community chat room on the website, a whole thread about schizophrenia, because everybody seemed to be really interested in that. And also videos linked there where Bert Helling is working with the schizophrenic for a schizophrenic child with the parents of the schizophrenic child. And that's really enlightening, yeah. What are the signs of schizophrenia in a family system? And I'm only talking about family constellations. They are going in circles. The representatives going in circles. They either circle on the spot or they run in circles around the other representatives. Or they even run around the chairs outside. They just go in circles and quick. They are not moving connected to the field one step at a time. They really run. Yeah. So that's an absolutely clear sign for schizophrenia when you have that in a family constellation. I have also seen that once on a virtual workshop, and I have seen the participants is doing this, like is moving the head like this. So that's a representative of a schizophrenic family member. Yeah. So how do we do with schizophrenia in family constellation? So it is in family constellation pretty much alike like in the psychotherapy. It's not really healable. Like, we have to acknowledge it's a destiny. Yeah. There are some aspects that might be able to heal in the family system, but not the schizophrenia, if you will, right? Most often, that is the point when you come to a dead end. That's where you come to a dead end. When you see schizophrenia in a family constellation, you will see nothing is moving further. It just does not move. There is nothing to do, nothing is moving. I give you an example from my own experience. There was somebody coming to my in-person workshops for the first time, and then we had a constellation, and we ended up at some point down the family generations ago with lots of dead people on the floor, like a massacre, really. And there was nothing to do. Normally, it's there's lots of ways to work with it very successfully, but not there. Nothing to do. Nobody was moving. Nobody was able to go there. Nobody was looking. Nobody was nothing. So I broke it up then. Yeah, wondering about that and thinking, oh my gosh, that might be a sign of mentally impaired or schizophrenia. And then he came back the next year, I think it was, with another issue. The first time I don't remember, was probably about the job. Second time he came back, was something to do with his daughter. We consolated. And lo and behold, after a while, we ended up exactly at the same picture. This massacre. Yeah, there's dead people on the floor. Nothing was. It was exactly the same. And because I forgot about what was last year, I didn't. For me, it was new. And then he said, "Oh my gosh, that was exactly like last year." He remembered, right, client? And I said, "Aha, well, that's interesting. So now we definitely have a sign of schizophrenia here in the family, right?" And then he came even a third time, and that was the last time I saw him, and with another issue, and yeah, guess what? Same thing. We ended up at the same scene, right, where nothing moves. And then later on, I have heard through the grapevines that this participant seems to have also very challenging relationships, and maybe even you know, is also mentally impaired. Not that I want to diagnose that, but it was interesting to hear. Yeah. So it was completely clear, and the field has shown me that obviously there was nothing we could do. Nothing. And I'm telling you that because you don't know that until you see it, and then that's not a reason to be frustrated or think you did anything wrong. This is just how it looks like, and you have to break it up. And that's then destiny. That's the end of the story. Yeah? Now, another case is that might look similar, family secrets. That's not the end of the story. Family secrets are lovely to constellate and always come to a very good end. When a constellation is also not moving and no dynamic shows up with the representatives, yeah, this is a sign of a family secret. And the family secret will remain unresolved in a constellation if it is undetected, of course. Yeah. And this is why I show you now how it looks like. And you might think, this is the same symptoms as when you have mentally impaired or schizophrenia in a family constellation, because nothing is moving, you know, no dynamics you can work on, but it does look different. Because in this case of a family secret, nobody's actually looking at each other. Nobody's actually looking, and there will probably to no dead people on the floor. Yeah. So I stop that. Let's see if there's something else coming. I go through that before I demonstrate that. Yeah. Sometimes family secrets are revealed after the constellation. So you can break it up. You might even don't know it's a family secret. You might think it's schizophrenia. You break it up there. Don't worry about it. The movement continues. And sometimes it will reveal itself to the client later by getting an information from a relative. And all of a sudden, and if you're lucky enough and they report it back to you, then you know, it was a family secret. Yeah. But of course, it's good to constellate it and include the family secret to solve it right there. And then also, I remember just now a case of a client where we had such a secret, and it had to do with a child given away in the 4th generation. And she happened to travel to her grandmother 2 weeks later. And she was asking the grandmother about it. And the grandmother, she is in her 90s, said, yeah, there was a child that my mother gave away. See? So they never talk about it. They never talk about it. But once the family secret is revealed, it becomes the new normal for the family. Yeah. Finding what means here is to add a representative for the secret. Yeah. And then observe the movement of the souls. Now you will have movement. Once the secret is made visible through a representative. So I will show you that it's actually not an exercise, it's more a demonstration. Yeah. I demonstrate that, and I turn off this sharing and put my camera on. So let's take a few participants. They are representing. Take this one. And let's say this is the client. Yeah. Client here and the facilitator here. Hang on, I put some shares there. Like this. And now Now, the facilitator says to everyone, please place yourself in the room. Yeah, and they place themselves, and that would look around probably like this. Let's see, checking in. But like this. So now if you observe each one of them carefully, you see that they are not looking at each other. Nobody's looking at each other. Right? Everyone, even if at first it looks like it, they are not looking at somebody else. The gaze goes past. It doesn't need to be so obvious that they are all facing outwards. They can be like in a group, but they are not looking at each other. Nobody. So when nobody looks at each other, and I replace this figurine because she's looking down. Normally nobody looks down neither. So like this. That's how it looks. Then all alarms must go on for the facilitator. That might be a family secret. Yeah. So what is the way to facilitate that is to ask another representative, and we take this one to come in and represent the secret. You don't need to say it's a family secret. You just say, you know, they are representing a family secret. You may whisper that in the ear of the representative if you want to, but you don't need to let anybody else know if you don't want to. And now you would ask them to place themselves. And he would go around and around, but most often they would go straight to somebody next. That's how it looks then. And then you know, aha, the family secret has been created in this generation by this person. She has a secret. And now you ask her, how do you feel? And she would say, now I feel really uneasy. Before that, everybody felt fine. Like, I don't feel nothing. I feel fine. That's what you get. Nothing is moving, nothing to work with. Now she says, no, this doesn't feel right. That feels really uneasy. And this representative would say, you know, I'm good here. I'm good here. I'm good here. And then something will happen through this movement of the black figurine. Something will happen that one, let's take this one, is turning around and now looks at them. Yeah, it could be the representative of the client, but not necessarily. It could be another family member. Anybody really would look over there. And now you have something to work with. Now this figurine can say, now I see you. Right? And it can be either addressed to the secret holder or to the secret. Yeah, could be addressed to either or, whoever they are looking at. And then that will then in turn change something here, obviously, right? Either the secret looks over and or this figurine, or she decided to look to this figurine. Yeah. And now these other members will most likely also start to move. And then you take it from there, because just because you add the family secret, because it starts the dynamics. It unblocks the blockage that was there before, right? And what it is, that's individually, we never know. It doesn't need to be a dismissed child. Obviously, it could be anything, anything that can be held secret that has to do with life and death. or advantage and disadvantage, of course. And then you just now you are able to facilitate, just as you learned it, a family constellation, where the family secret is another representative, and it will become over the course of the constellation, of course, the person. Like it is always a person. You always constellate family members, first order of love. Yeah, you just name them. They are. You name a disease, you name the secret, you name it, and then it turns out then, of course, that they are family members represented. Yeah, so that is basically what you see, and I'm sure it happens frequently. So I'm sure you will see that in the workshops that we have together here and there, and then now you know. I might say that's family secret. I might not say it, but you will know it when you see it. This is the practice of observation, to observe when, of course, online is much more difficult, right, than in person. I understand that. To observe if there's movement or not. Good. Okay. So that is what I wanted to show you. Here we go. That's my slides. I have one left, which is only a quote that I will give you later. Is there anything else you would like to discuss? Okay. Yes, Suman.
Oh, I was just going to comment that
Yeah.
I can see now, I'm very much looking forward to this in-person workshop that I'll be able to attend, but I was reflecting back on the few that I've been able to participate with Kimberly in the workshops, where sometimes I'm in like such awe of you, because I think to myself, like, how out, of course, the field itself, but sometimes you are so exact in picking something, and it's starting to sort of percolate in my mind of just the essence of really being in person, then taking it virtual if you choose to do it that way, of how crucial, because my experience outside of this has always been online. And so the concept of even you doing this on the board is starting to resonate much more for me, because I was so lost. I was like, I don't understand how. So that was very helpful.
Great. That's great that you see that, because that's exactly how it is. This is, you have to have the 3D vision. That's how you work. That's just the work. The work is the online tool is great, but it's only a translation. It's like a translator to another language. But first you need to speak the language, and then you can translate it. Yeah. But if you don't speak the language, of course you can't translate anything. Yeah. Very good observation. Very good. Okay. So we round everything up today, and I would like to talk about module 3. And I would like to hear from you what has stuck so far of module 3. What have you learned? What was the most important part you take home? What is the part you want to, looking forward to recap when you have the video recordings that you want to dive deeper into? And anything else that comes to your mind about what we have shared in the last 3 days. Who wants to start?
Or Kimberly's gonna fall asleep. I'll carry on from what I just shared to, I think, the sense of the personal responsibility you have for yourself, of your mindset, your field, what you're participating in, all the good things that come into what you practice. That's definitely a highlight. I think I like to think I bring that into most parts of my life, but seeing the significance of this, because that blends into this place of the blind spots, especially when you're not familiar with something, or I can see how easily that you can just miss that boat so quickly. So that's something I definitely want to dig a little deeper in, of exploring even what other blind spots I have left over or here or and I think blind spots also within my own family. Learning more from just the other day, I think I shared this in, I don't know if it was this module or the module before, that my mom actually had a younger sister who never came to term. That, you know, these things that are just starting to pick up and connecting the dots on certain things in life. So yeah, those are my big takeaways.
Great. Wonderful.
Yeah.
And that's so, so true, right? This is the foundation of everything you do in life, is yourself, the self-realization, is to become the true you that you are, and then you are a gift to others. Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you. And Kimberly?
I'm feeling a lot more confident in the fact that I can just get out of the way a little bit, you know, like get out of the way and just step into the field. And I really like that you keep reiterating, you know, you're not going to get more than you can handle. The field knows what you can handle, and just trusting it, like just, you know, reaffirming my trust in the field to guide and to allow that time and space so that that can happen. And that this is really like an evolutionary process. It's, you know, just each day is going to be different. And really, it's just like a one day at a time thing. And you know, every experience is an opportunity for growth. And you know, I kind of see that in charts too. I still, like, every time I see a new client, it's like, oh, look at this. This is interesting, something new, you know, a different, and it's like you can see a little bit deeper each time because your lens keeps changing. So I think that's what I'm getting from this module.
Great. That's great, because confidence is great, with a humility to know that you don't know much, if anything, right? That is the real strength in confidence, that you know you don't know everything, but there is a higher knowingness that you can tap into, and that will guide you. And that's fantastic. Yeah. Very good. So what is from now on? Now you have concluded 3 modules. That the next practice workshop, I think, is actually coming up. I have to check in not too long time, is where you can practice facilitating. We obviously do it online, and there's no need to be worried about, because of course I'm there to help you. And we also have the figurine board. So if you are in the need of visuals, you can always have that. Yeah. Yeah, this visual support. And you don't have to facilitate right away. That's not a pressure. You will have ample of opportunities throughout this course to do that. But on the other hand, why not? Yeah, nothing to lose here, right? Nothing to lose here. And of course, continuing with the open workshops, that's crucial. Observation and exposing to the field, connect with the field. And of course, then module 4 is coming up in a month's time. Yeah, and that's what I think I want to share with you. And other than that, I have one more chart that I will quickly bring up. That then I let you go with this. It's a quote from Bert Hellinger's favorite poet, Rainer Maria Rilke. He's a German poet, and Bert Hellinger was obsessed with him. He was quoting him all the. I love him too. Very good, and it really fits in so well after 3 modules. So it goes like this: be patient with all that is unsolved in your heart, and love the questions themselves. Like locked rooms and like books that are written in a very foreign tongue. Do not seek the answers which cannot be given you because you wouldn't be able to live them. The questions have a life of their own. And the point is to live everything. Live the questions now. Then someday you will gradually, without even noticing it, have been living your way into the answers. Hmm?
It's very deep.
Isn't it? It's so
Mhm.
beautiful. Yeah.
Mhm.
So let that sink in, write your questions in your notebook, and sit with your questions and let them take over the lead in your life. Hmm?
Mm.
Okay, so I wish you all the best. The video recordings will be up within a week, and then I see you next time.
Thank you, Maya. Bye,
Thank you.
Kimberly.
Bye.
Thank you.
Have a great week.
Bye.
You
You
too.
too.
Bye.
Bye.